Michelle Whitfield asked me how I plot my story. Do I use an outline or build the story out from there, or specific plan in detail every chapter? The answer, Michelle, is no. I have no outline. I start with an idea. With Life or Death, it was what would happen to if a man escaped from prison the day before he was due to be released. With Close Your Eyes, the new one, it's actually based upon a story I covered in 1995 about the murder of a woman in a remote farmhouse in Oxfordshire in England. It's a crime that's never been solved. But it starts with just an idea, and I just build it up from there, and I don't plot it in advance. I love being able to come in from my office and say to my wife every day, "You would not believe what happened today," and be genuinely surprised. Because if I'm surprised by the twists and turns, then hopefully you, the reader, will also be surprised. Any advice on how you get through writer's block, telling your story? Do you know, I always remember something that Ernest Hemingway wrote in one of my favourite books, is A Movable Feast, about his posthumous memoir about writing his first novel when he was in his early 20s living in Paris. And he wrote in cafes. And he talked about the fact that he never, at the end of each writing day, even if he knew how a particular chapter ended or scene ended, he'd never write the ending. He might be a paragraph away, and you'd think the temptation is to finish it, get up, have a glass of wine, thinking, I'm finished for the day. But the problem with doing that is that when you get to your desk the next day, you're staring at a blank page. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to go to next. If you leave a chapter unfinished or a scene unfinished, straight away when you get to your desk, you know you have to finish it. Straight away you're writing, and it's amazing how that triggers all that follows. That's just one little hint. Other than that, I don't care if you write a long email to your friend, don't waste your writing time. Write something. I promise you'll get over your writer's block. Leanne O'Rourke of New South Wales. Given the market is flooded with so much writing from the crime genre, I find it very difficult to create unique and fresh characters in my series. Joe O'Loughlin is unique, flawed and powerfully loved by your readers. How was Joe O'Loughlin born into Michael Robotham's world? Thank you, Leanne, that's lovely. Joe was born, I suppose over 10 years ago now, and I knew I wanted to create a psychologist as my main character. I'd done a lot of work with a psychologist called Paul Britton, who was the real-life psychologist that Cracker was based upon, that wonderful character from the BBC series. And I guess I never thought I'd do more than one book with Joe O'Loughlin, and I guess I wanted to create a character who wasn't going to be a Jason Bourne or a Jack Reacher or a James Bond. He wasn't going to be out to outshoot or outrun or outfight or outdrive, all the bad guys. I wanted a flawed hero who had to outthink them. And I love the idea of having a character who had a brilliant mind, but he was trapped in a crumbling body. There's a sort of tragic irony about that. So that's how Joe was born, and I can remember the moment I captured his voice. I remember the moment in that first novel, The Suspect, when I wrote a sentence that said, and this captured his sort of self-deprecating sense of humour, and where Joe O'Loughlin said, "When I wake up in the morning, I know what sort of day I'm going to have if I can bend down and tie my shoes." And to me, that summed up the character, because I'd given this man with a brilliant mind early onset Parkinson's. Stewart Miguel says, a few other crime writers have moved into young adult fiction. Hypothetically, if you were to write a young adult series, where would it take you? Or where would you take it? It probably would be a psychological thriller. It probably would be in a similar sort of genre. I'm always amazed at how many young readers I have. I was in Germany recently and I had an 8-year-old girl come up and she had every one of my books, and I was horrified that her parents were letting her read them. But her parents announced that I was her favourite writer and asked if I'd have a photograph taken with her. No, I think I would probably do a psychological thriller. And, I've never actually thought about doing a young adult series, but who knows?